And with my first question, where do you think Louisville stands in the current political atmosphere?
My concern is that statewide, we got to make sure that we get the funds that are needed in rural communities in Appalachia, Eastern Kentucky, and in the coal fields of Western Kentucky, because those are the areas that are much more impoverished than the urban areas like Ashland and like Louisville and like Lexington. So we got to make sure that we look after those areas. As far as Louisville is concerned, what we got to make sure happens is that when we're looking at construction of education buildings and roads, that people of color and women are hired to do that work. We can't just sit back and say we got the money, we're good. We got to make sure we know who's getting the jobs, who's doing the work, who's getting paid.
And what could an average person do who's really not involved in the activism or whatever? What could an average person, average Joe, do to make sure that he's getting his part of the pie, or her?
The people who are walking up and down the street can sit on their couch at home and make a phone call, or send an email, or send a fax from their office. There's something that we can all do. We can all make a phone call to the mayor. We can all make a phone call to our metro council member. The issue is whether or not we're willing to do it. Whether or not we're willing to step out there and say, I'm going to have a voice and I'm going to use that voice.
Okay, all right. Another tough question. You handled the first two pretty good.
Okay.
You know, it's gonna get a little tougher from here on out.
All right. It's like who wants to be a millionaire or something.
That's my girl. Okay. Race. Okay. I'm trying to ask a question without leading you. I'm trying to, I'm getting better. I gotta ask unbiased questions.
Okay. It doesn't matter. I'll give you a biased answer.
Okay, cool. What is your impression? What is your thoughts on race relations in the reference of how much help do we need from them? Do we need to be trying to continue to incorporate just for the sake of them being another race?
You say them, you mean white people?
White people, Europeans, non-minorities. Do you feel like we need to continue to seek their partnership in different agendas just on the race issue, or do you believe that we just need to knock the race walls down, don't even trip off it, don't even talk about it no more? What you think?
I feel like Javassia Harris wrote an amazing piece in Velocity in January talking about the racial divide, specifically in Louisville, and she pulled together a panel of some amazing folks who spoke from the heart. So I encourage everyone to check out that article. What I will add to that piece is that we as people of color, whether we're Black, Asian, Latino, whatever, Indian, have to build relationships and partnerships with people who are white. They have to build relationships with us because it's the only way we'll have a strong city, a strong country, a strong community, is if we're working together. That being said, racism is real. Race relations are tense. Race is real. I'm Black and I'm proud of it. My white brothers and sisters in white nation are proud of that as well. But we need to work together to build the kind of community we want to see, that beloved community that Dr. King talked about.
Okay. What is the most immediate action that Louisvillians should take?
For me, the immediate action is to build relationships, to get to know one another, get to know the person you work with, get to know the person who lives in your neighborhood. We don't even know our neighbors anymore. So we need to get to know our neighbors, get to know the people that we're around, but we also need to be honest with one another, be real with one another. Your name is real for a reason, and we need to be real. We need to call one another out, and we need to share our experiences, our hurts, our loves, our desires, and we need to say that's the only way that we can get to where we need to be.
Okay. Good answers. Wow. I'm almost ran out of questions. Let me think. Last question, and then we can go ahead and freestyle this. Actually, you can get up if you want to and walk around, and so I can get you.
I'll walk after.
Like we're having like a regular conversation.
We probably shouldn't be at any of these other places, like Lucky Strike. We might not need to be at Lucky Strike where one of the Black employees got a letter saying you need to go back to Africa. So.
For real?
We'll just walk past borders because that's pretty safe.
They got a letter. They got a letter telling them to go back to Africa.
An African American employee at Lucky Strike got a letter that told him to go. a couple of years ago, an African-American employee at Lucky Strike got a letter from one of his coworkers telling him to go back to Africa.
Yeah.
And so, of course, the Reverend Lewis Coleman jumped on it because that's what he was good about doing, is getting on top of these issues and quickly. And then, of course, the FBI was called in to investigate it as a hate crime because that was a threatening letter telling someone black to go back to Africa. And the letter was from a white coworker. And then, of course, the other issues that go on with 4th Street Live and, you know, black men, whether or not they can go into different clubs because of the way that they're dressed, whether or not they have on a baseball cap or they're sagging. So there are so many reasons why we probably politically shouldn't be walking down 4th Street, but, you know, it's part of the city. We have to change it so it can be what we want it to be.
You have 2 children.
I have 2 wonderful, amazing, beautiful children, Advocate and Ashanti.
Advocate and Ashanti. I actually met your son.
You've met Advocate. Who
Very
doesn't know
impressive.
Advocate? You know, if I meet somebody who knows me, who doesn't know my children, something's not right.
Okay. And I actually heard your son give a speech. Very impressive. My battery was low, so I couldn't record him at the time.
He spoke at a remembrance event for the 4 young men who were killed in that tragic car accident late in December.
Yeah.
And he spoke and talked about hope and talked about how children are the hope for our communities, for our families, and that the parents who were affected, the extended family members who were affected, should continue to hold that hope inside of them because that's what their children would want them to do.
Okay.
And my son is 13 and my daughter is 8, so I am every day just profoundly affected by their activism and their spirit and their love and their desire to give to their community.
You know, I'm trying to start a program called Family Adopting Families,
Yes.
and I'm going to actually, you know, break that out to you a little bit more later on.
Yes, hopefully people heard you on the radio.
Yeah. The more I construct it, you know. But anyway, and that's a topic that I deal with all the time: the need for families, the need for different the influences inside a child's life be positive and various.
Yes.
You know, you had made a comment before. You had said that we don't know each other no more. We don't know each other's name. You know, we don't know where we come from, our family, and things like that. We're basically disconnected in our communities. And one thing that I always try to pump and promote is the benefits of family.
Right.
I'm going to actually record your children one day, first chance I get, your babies, to show the world the benefit, the reward of family, because you have beautiful children.
Thank you.
And that comes from being a beautiful parent.
Thank you.
And that comes from allowing your children to be influenced by a lot of different, various positive things within their life. So that's how you're able to name your son Advocate, and he actually grew up to be an advocate.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. He is serious about that.
That's direction. That's goal right there. That's purpose.
And Ashanti is the embodiment of her name, which is Warrior Princess. She is a warrior, and she is a princess.
Now, what could you tell America as far as your thoughts on family? More specific, what did it take? Because your children are on a beautiful path. I mean, some people you can just look at it and be like, oh yeah, they gonna do something.
Right, right.
What was it? Because it's done. The job is done. Even if, you know, something happens to you or something, your children are going to be, because you put something in them to where they're straight for the rest of their lives. You know, what was it? What was that? If you could put your finger on anything that you've done that was probably the most influential, besides being there, besides just being there, being a good mother, what was it? What could you tell America or tell Louisville to help Louisville out, they could possibly, so they can use that knowledge to help their families out?
I would say 2 things: partnership and spirituality. That with their father, it's a partnership. It's not just me. I'm not the only factor in their lives that's disciplining them, that's educating them, that's making sure that they're on the right track. And even though I'm a single mother right now, they are actively involved with their father, and he's actively involved with them, and that's vitally important. At the same time, spirituality was important. I was raised in the church, and it was important for me and for their father to make sure that they were brought up in the church as well. They will decide when they become adults what path they want to take spiritually. But we knew that right now the foundation that we could give them was to be in that house of worship with other people who worship, with other people who are going to look at them when they see them at the mall and we're not there, or at the movies, and put them in check and say, oh, I know your mama, I know your daddy, you better, you know, get yourself together.
Okay.
And so that made a big difference as well as we brought them up and reared them to be some upstanding people who contributed to their community, but also did well in school, also respected adults, respected their classmates, respected themselves.
Okay. Okay. Now we're going